2, 1.
All right, you're on, Mancow. You're back.
All right, so we just had something happen we've never had happen. Never had happened in my life. I didn't know you could even do this. I felt a shock through my headphones, and we went off. That's why I was going like this. I don't know that anyone's going to see this. I guess we'll tag it on later. And I was just talking about Ukraine and Biden and money laundering and how a baby is born healthy, and all of a sudden they got to inject it with a million things, and how it didn't start with gas chambers, vilifying your enemy, and then just a shock to the system. Really something. And I want to talk also about the father in the UK that lost custody of his 8-year-old son. He didn't want his 8-year-old son to become something else. Prince Charles has cancer. This guy really pushed all of the big government everything and has allowed, London to become a small little Saudi Arabia. Where else do I want to talk about? I didn't have time. Cureleaf, this weed place near my house. They want all kinds of information. I continue to tell people, you don't want to get weed from the government, man. They're going to take your guns and they're going to tell you smoke weed, you can't have a gun. That's really coming. And then there was a new escape room near my house. I don't get how that's fun, an escape room. My dad's Ford. I'm looking through some of the paperwork. My dad has a Ford. I have a Ford. Went to Roche. And my owner manual warns me not to drink the battery fluid. My dad's Ford from 50 years ago explained how to adjust the valves. You think we're getting stupider? All right, let's bring in our guest. Okay, let's big round of applause. Let's bring him in. Bring him in, bring him in, bring him in. Okay, here we go. And you can just bring this up. And do you have his name? Your name is Phil? Phil Sadler. Okay. Phil, come on in. This is Phil Sadler. And that's it on the microphone. We're going to have to share a mic. This is a Mickey Mouse operation. Not that we work for Disney. We don't like Disney. Okay, sit down. You're not on camera yet. And can you see yourself?
Unfortunately.
Okay, so you're going to want to look right up in there.
Okay.
And what is the premise of the book? Get to the mic.
Are we on actually?
We're actually on.
Oh, okay. The book is called There's No App. Oh, sorry. There's No App for That, The Rewiring of a Planet.
So you're against apps. All of these things I have on my phone, you're against social media.
No, I'm not against apps. The book's title, There's No App for That, is a play on the phrase, there's an app for that, which has been iconic since the invention of the cell phone, smartphone.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yes.
Interesting. Sorry. So, okay. So that.
Yeah. Well, what is there not an app for? I guess I'm missing the point of the book. And again, you got to get right up into that. You got to speak up.
Okay. So once again.
No, but just explain. I don't get it.
You don't get it. Okay. Well, the name of the book is called There's No App for That.
What's it about?
What's it about? It's about the rewiring of a planet because of smartphones and applications and all of this data and stress and anxiety, like I'm going through right now, and I'm not even using my smartphone. So you want me to look at? Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, look.
I wasn't expecting this.
Well, I don't know what you were expecting, but this is what it is.
Okay.
And you knew that I did this out of my house, and you wanted to be on the show to pimp your book.
Okay.
And so Elon Musk announced, if it's real, that Neuralink, which is the size of a quarter, has been tried out on a human now.
Right. And
there's many hairs, little wires going in, and then we're going to be able to access everything on our phone via our brain. What do you think of that? The Neuralink. I don't know if you could hear me, folks. The Neuralink, where we are connected to the internet and we can look up anything with our brain, and then we are all tied together. Transhumanism. How do you feel about that?
I think what you were referring to was the partum cerebellum, which is the part of the brain you were referring to. I don't think we're going to be around long.
Hey, what is with you?
What do you mean?
No, I mean, so I didn't say I said brain. I got to say the specific part of the brain.
Okay.
Who gives a shit?
Okay. Well, here's my point.
You're in my house.
I understand.
You're in my house.
I understand that, and I appreciate that, and thank you so much. You brought me here. I appreciate it. I didn't necessarily expect this. To answer your question.
Well, what did you expect?
Well,
this is my house. This is the nicest house in Chicago.
Okay.
Muller Manor is a museum. People pay to get in here.
Okay. I'm just going, Mr. Mueller, I'm just going off the energy that you're giving me right now as I walk in. I appreciate the incense and the choral music that was playing in the supposed green room you have. You have a very beautiful house, and I respect the fact that you made your own money and you have a great show and you have your opinions. But the question that you're asking me is, what is about the future and what Elon Musk said? I would say that I don't think we're going to be allowed. I don't think we're going to be around longer. I don't think we're going to be around as a species before we get to that point. So, what is the most vital part of any civilization, any population? Communication. Communication has been disrupted because of these smartphones, because there's so much information being given to us at any point of the day, and then all of this information that is given to us is all dependent on app developers of software. And if you have software that's made by this one company and software that's made by this other company, then that's not going to gel. You've got people with iPhones, you got people with Samsung phones. They don't have the same apps. The code is different. So my point is the communication gets messed up. And because of the communication getting messed up, it causes problems, which causes stress, which causes anxiety, which causes worst case scenarios in people that already have predispositions of psychotic behavior.
Wow, you are wound tight, brother. Look, if I could push a button, get rid of social media. I have daughters who are on there. I have them doing the stupid dances. I don't know what it is where every lovely girl has to get on the internet and do a stupid twitching spasm. It's weird, man. It is weird. At my house here is Phil Sadler. His book is
There's no app for that.
There's no app for that.
The rewiring of a population.
The subtitle is Rewiring of a Population. You know, when I talk about Miller High Life, I don't always say the champagne of beers. You don't always have to say
well, it's a book title. It's a book which has a title, and then there's a subtitle. So if I'm going to pimp my book, I'm going to tell you the title of the book and the subtitle.
All right.
I appreciate your Miller High Life.
Anyway, look, technology has always been feared. The man that created fire was beaten to death, but that night they kept warm with his creation. So it can be used for good or bad. You're here. I'm sure someone's using an app to watch us right now. Is this a bad thing? You're promoting your book. You're getting your ideas out. So is this a bad thing?
No. And I think you're missing the point. Obviously, this technology and apps, they help us to achieve the things we want to achieve. But I think people just don't want to understand behind the curtain, there's an evil here. And I only hope that the supposed people who control the world, that they're not too nefarious and they have our best interest in hand, which I doubt they do.
Okay, so what's the answer?
The answer is, well, first of all, you should have one place in your home that has no electronics whatsoever.
I agree with that.
Okay, so you have a place to go and be away from that. And I'm not talking about putting tinfoil on your head and radio waves and all that stuff, although that is something you should be aware of too. The cell phone companies and Apple and all that, they certainly don't want to tell you that there's radio waves being emitted from these phones. And we don't even know where we're going. If you've seen the movie Jurassic Park, you know the famous line from Jeff Goldblum about, and I'm paraphrasing, that we haven't had a chance to really know where we're going before. We're already on this road. And we don't know where we're going. And that's a scary thing. But hey, that's okay. You've got a great video on TikTok and you're making lots of money. So it's great. Well, you can't take money to heaven, can you?
Well, you have a very bleak outlook for a young man. You seem quite unhinged. And I don't think you've...
I don't want to be bleak. Believe me, I don't want to be bleak. I have a son.
I get it. I don't want to be bleak either. I get it.
But when you see the world the way it is, and then you turn on the news and it's just bad news on a constant 24-hour cycle and different variations of that news, it kind of plays into you. And that's the other thing too. People love to watch the news and hear all this stuff on a 24-hour cycle and just have it be white noise in the background. And what that's doing is it's hitting you on a subconscious level. This stuff that's coming at you, hurricanes, floods. And there's a chapter I devote in my book about, people that believe eschatology, which is the study of end times. People want to talk about the end of the world and things that are going on. And believe me, there are floods. There are people that are denying God. There are people that are turning in their family, not necessarily literally, but they're turning them in by exposing them to things that they know are wrong. And I'm very passionate about this. And I wrote this book in 2010, when I felt there was a shift going on, you know, I got the iPhone when it first came out. I was very happy with it. I loved where we were going with how they were, you know, changing the software. I had a Razr phone before that. And what I loved about the smartphone or the iPhone was that it took my contacts and it had a better camera, and the software was all nice and it was all laid out very, you know, the graphical user interface was fantastic. But then what ended up happening was around 2010, there was this shift where the iPad had just come out, and then the smartphones were really taking off, and then people with not much money were able to get.
Get. Thank you, buddy. Thank you. Go ahead and get him out of here. We've been sabotaged tonight. We've been sabotaged. Something's going on. Thank you.